Apocalypse+Rebirth+System+Zombie+Alien Space+System Abilities+Kill all sides. At the end of the world fell into the heavy rainstorm that lasted for several months. 90% of people died of illness and starved to death, and most of the remaining people also changed into zombies. In his previous life, Kang Yulong was betrayed by his neighbors after only half a month of surviving in the apocalypse with his beloved girlfriend Xia Zihan. While searching for food, he was targeted by a bald zombie. His girlfriend was killed by a zombie to protect Kang Yulong, and Kang Yulong also died at the hands of a bald zombie shortly after. However, when he died, he was reborn with strong pain and anger before the apocalypse. In this lifetime, he obtained a shelter system, hoarded supplies, and awakened abilities. Kill zombies, seek revenge, and embark on a journey of escape. Breaking through the tide of corpses, gathering supernatural beings, building gathering places, and reaching the pinnacle of life. Chapter 1. Mobile Shelter. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Run quickly, Zihan. Kang Yulong grabbed Xia Zihan's wrist and frantically ran upstairs, pulling her. Xia Zihan exerted a force on her right hand and pushed Kang Yulong in front of her, allowing him to run ahead while blocking behind with his own body. 10 meters behind the two, a ferocious-looking muscular zombie chased them closely, emitting a strange and terrifying roar in its mouth, wishing to immediately knock them down and then bite them hard. Bang bang bang, open the door, quickly open the door. Help us. Help us. With a rapid knocking on the door, Kang Yulong's hoarse cries for help echoed through the hallway, hoarse and frightened. However, no matter how Kang Yulong called for help, none of the residents on the 7th floor dared to open their doors and let the two of them enter. Yulong, Yulong. As Xia Zihan's voice changed due to fear, the tall and slightly over 1.9 meter tall zombie with a bald head and a sunken nose, and a large black mole on its forehead, rushed towards him. The muscular zombie had sharp teeth and a crimson tongue sticking out of its mouth, emitting a foul odor. A pair of sharp claws emitting a chilly light grabbed at him. Kang Yulong's eyes widened, his mouth opened, and he watched in great fear as the tall zombie rushed towards him. His strength was severely overdrawn as he ran all the way, and his legs were unable to take a step. But the tall zombie was incredibly fast and powerful, waving its claws to grab Kang Yulong's face. Kang Yulong had nowhere to hide, let out a scream in his mouth, and was about to close his eyes, waiting for death to come when suddenly a thin and beautiful figure stood in front of him. Ah! With a piercing scream, Kang Yulong suddenly opened his eyes wide and saw everything happening in front of him. It's Xia Zihan, who used his thin and weak body to block him from the muscular zombie. I saw Xia Zihan's back facing the zombie, and a pair of the zombie's claws were inserted into Xia Zihan's back. The 10 claws cut through Xia Zihan's delicate skin like 10 short knives. Blood spurted out like a spring, and warm blood splattered on the face of the tall zombie. The tall zombie extended its long crimson tongue, licking the blood on its face with great pleasure. Xia Zihan looked at Kang Yulong with a pale face, her arms outstretched, and her jade-like little hands tightly grasped Kang Yulong's hands. A blood stain flowed from the corner of her mouth, and a smile appeared on her face. That smile contained a deep reluctance and attachment to Kang Yulong, as if there were thousands of words to say to him. However, her life was rapidly passing, and she no longer had the strength to speak. No, Zihan, don't leave me, don't leave me. Why is this, what exactly happened? However, Kang Yulong's hoarse shout summoned the ugly and fierce face of the muscular zombie. The zombie abandoned Xia Zihan and rushed towards Kang Yulong, reaching out its claws and sweeping it fiercely. The sharp claws cut through Kang Yulong's carotid artery, and blood gushed out from his neck. Kang Yulong's last trace of consciousness remained on the face of the ugly zombie, and his last trace of anger deeply imprinted the zombie in his mind, including bald head, black mole, collapsed nose, claws. Divine consciousness wandered on Xia Zihan's slender and delicate body, full of pity, reluctance, and hatred. Kang Yulong's soul stayed by their corpses for a long time without leaving. No, no, no. Kang Yulong rolled wildly on the bed, roaring in pain from his mouth, his eyes tightly closed, and his consciousness blurred suddenly. Kang Yulong sat up from the bed, opened his eyes, looked frightened, panted heavily, and sweat kept dripping down his forehead. His gaze changed from hazy to clear, and when he saw everything around him clearly, he found that everything around him was so familiar, including every object, which seemed familiar. Isn't this my own home? Am I already dead? Didn't I just be torn apart and devoured by zombies? How could I appear at home? Kang Yulong couldn't be sure where he was at this moment in his mind. Everything was like a sleepwalk. He extended his right hand and hit his face hard. Pa! A crisp slap rang out. I feel a pain. He placed his finger on the edge of his mouth again and bit with a slight force. Ouch, it hurts. It doesn't seem like it's in a dream. The bright light from the window attracted Kang Yulong, who struggled to get off the bed and onto the ground. My legs are weak and weak. Kang Yulong tried to take a few steps and almost fell to the ground. Finally, he stumbled to the window, and the bright sunlight made him close his eyes. It took him a long time to adapt to the bright light. Outside the window, there was a bustle of traffic and voices. Everything was so real. Did you not die and be reborn again? A thought came to Kang Yulong's mind. The scene of being devoured by zombies in the dream just now was so real, as if it was right in front of him. It must be, I have been reborn back into the real world in a zombie-infested world. Kang Yulong felt a burst of ecstasy in his heart, but after the ecstasy, he calmed down. This is heaven sympathizing with him, caring for him, and warning him. Since rebirth has returned to reality, we must live well and not repeat the same predicament in our dreams. Zihan, Zihan, where is Zihan now? At the thought of Xia Zihan, Kang Yulong felt a twinge of pain in his heart. Xia Zihan was his childhood sweetheart, playing house and school together since childhood, and growing up to become lovers who loved each other and were deeply attached to each other. Xia Zihan, for the sake of his own safety, is willing to put his body under the mouth of a zombie. This behavior of sacrificing his life and death for a couple is almost extremely rare in today's world. Thinking of Xia Zihan in his dream, Kang Yulong was deeply moved in his heart. Tears welled up in the corners of his eyes, dripping down in a flurry. Kang Yulong immediately took out his phone, found a number, and called over. Zihan, is that Zihan? Before the phone could be connected, Kang Yulong spoke into his phone. Yulong, what are you doing? Why are you speaking strangely? A clear and watery voice rang on the phone, with a hint of anger in its tone. You haven't had any problems, have you? Everything is okay, right? What's wrong with you, Yulong? Everything is fine with me. How can I speak in this tone? As long as you're okay, I just miss you a bit. Oh, we were just together last weekend, why do we miss someone again? I don't know what's going on, I just want to see you. Some things are so strange, I want to talk to you in person. Kang Yulong didn't know how to express himself, he just said some strange things. Well, you're so shameless. What are you in love with? Xia Zihan felt embarrassed to say the word wife. Alright, I'll come find you after class this afternoon. You'll take care of the meal then. Xia Zihan hung up the phone, and Kang Yulong felt a warm surge in his heart. As long as Zihan is okay, everything else is fine. Not to mention taking care of food, I am willing to take care of your life's food. By the way, when is it now? I don't even know if it's monkey year or horse month after being reborn. Kang Yulong picked up his phone again and looked at the time. The 8th day of August in the Taiping calendar, 2046. Kang Yulong casually recited it. Suddenly, he trembled all over, with a hint of fear in his eyes. So in 10 more days, it will be the day when the Blue Star disaster is imminent. Kang Yulong felt a sense of urgency surge into his heart. According to past life memories, 10 days later, the atmosphere above the blue star was suddenly destroyed, and the ozone layer was also destroyed. Gamma rays and other harmful rays in the universe, passing through the destroyed atmosphere, recklessly harmed humanity and caused a large number of human deaths. At the same time, unknown gases are produced in the atmosphere that can resurrect the dead, that is, the living dead. The entire world is filled with zombies, chasing and tearing apart survivors. At that time, survivors will hide at home, in corners, avoiding the killing of zombies. Not long after, the survivors ran out of food and fought against each other. In order to get a bite of food, the strong plundered directly, while the weak, elderly, and children mostly starved to death. Surprisingly, women were willing to sell their looks in exchange for a living bite of food. Today, when I am reborn, I can no longer endure the hardships of my previous life. I must be well prepared. The advantage is that I have already seen the situation of the end of the world and know the cruelty of it. Preparing a large amount of materials is a necessary thing. Kang Yulong whispered to himself. What should we do? The most precious thing in the apocalypse is food. First, a large amount of food needs to be prepared, and purchasing food requires a lot of money. Kang Yulong doesn't know when the end of the world will come, so he needs to prepare more food to ensure that it will be enough for him and Xia Zihan to eat for a lifetime. Where are so many foods placed, how can we ensure their quality? How to purchase food, what to use to purchase food. Kang Yulong has not yet thought about how to store food and ensure its quality, but it has made him worried. Suddenly, a divine light flashed and a mechanical voice from deep within his brain sounded. You have bound the mobile shelter system. Reminder. The mechanical voice continued. 1. Mobile shelters can be placed in the macro world, micro world, or body, allowing the owner's mind to be controlled. 2 points are the universal currency for mobile shelters, and all transactions are based on points. Items and points are interchangeable. 3. Ability to purchase and upgrade abilities for upgradable mobile shelter with more powerful features. 5. It contains a large storage space. 6. Independent hydroelectric system. Upon hearing the mechanical sound, Kang Yulong was momentarily stunned, then turned around and searched for the source of the sound, only to discover that it came from deep within his own brain. Is it because I am reborn and have the so-called called golden finger? No way. What is the situation? Is this mobile shelter a system? A recycling system that can recycle waste and provide valuable supplies? Kang Yulong was puzzled in his heart. If that's really the case, that would be great. After the apocalypse, although the outside world is extremely dangerous, as long as there is such a mobile shelter, there is a safe shelter wherever you go, so you don't have to worry about the wind and rain outside, as well as the zombies scattered all over the world. The end of the world has arrived, and food is scarce. In order to avoid zombies, humans curl up inside houses, do not engage in production, but constantly consume food. When food runs out, it is the time for human extinction. However, with a mobile shelter, it's different. You can exchange points with something you don't need, and then use the points to exchange for food. You no longer have to worry about going hungry. After the end of the world, what is most lacking is food, and what is least lacking should be useless things. The world is full of them, and you can exchange points and food for anything you want. Kang Yulong had already fantasized about a future where zombies would roam outside, people would fight for a little food, and even people would eat each other. Meanwhile, he and Xia Zihan hid in a shelter, drinking red wine and eating steak, enjoying a comfortable life. Chapter 2. Universal Exchange Machine. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 3. 1-star Physical Fitness Fortifier. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 4. Xia Zihan. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De Colois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 5. Candlelight Banquet. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De Colois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 6. The Provocation of the Rich Second Generation. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De Colois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 7. Weightlifting Competition. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De Colois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 8. The Rogi Shao. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De Colois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 9. Narrow Avenues for Enemies. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De Colois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 10. Zichang confesses compensation. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De Colois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text.